Alright guys, in this video I'm going to upload a Cloudformation template into an S3 bucket, and then I'm going to deploy the Cloudformation stack with its resources, which will have various components such as an elastic load balancer, which is the application load balancer. It's going to have security groups, it's going to have target groups, listener rules, and it's going to have two EC2 instances. And let's go ahead and take a look at the network diagram to see what we're working with here. All right, so here's the network diagram. Basically, this is going to take place in the US East 1 region, and I'm going to upload a Cloudformation template that is currently stored in my directory, and I'm going to upload that to the S3 bucket, and then we're going to use Cloudformation to deploy those resources, and then we're going to test access to the EC2 instances by using the application load balancer's DNS name, and then we will see that the server is responding. So let's go ahead and take a look at the AWS console to see what we're working with here. All right, so I am in the Northern Virginia region, and right now there's no bucket, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a bucket, and we're just gonna call it my new stack. And then you notice here are the parameters. There are a few things that pop up, and we get to choose, because I already have several key pairs in my environment. For example, if I go to the key pairs here, I have two key pairs defined. So in my formation template, I said when I deploy this, I want to be able to choose which VPC ID to use, which public subnet to use, and then which key pair I want to use. And so that's why we have the options to choose under parameters all these properties here. So for key pair, key name, I want to use EC2 key pair. For the public subnet one, I want to choose the first subnet, which is in US East 1A, which is the availability zone A, and then the second subnet is the other one. And then for VPC ID, I have two. One is the default, and then one is the VPC that I've created. So I'm going to choose my VPC that I created, VPC A. All right, and you can see here in the Cloudformation template that this is the ID that I want to choose, ending in 89D, and this is 89D right there. So I'll choose that one. I'll hit next, and then I'll leave here everything blank or default, and I'll hit next. And then again, I'll hit submit. All right, so now it's creating all these resources for me, and you can hit the refresh button to see the status here. Everything is in creating progress. It's creating my target group. You can see that it's creating my security group for my EC2 instances. It's creating my security group for my load balancer. It's creating my target group, my security group for my EC2 instances again. Let's hit refresh and see where we're at. Okay, a few things are being completed already. Target group's done, instance 1 and instance 2 is done. And then we hit refresh again. Basically, we're waiting to see this, my new stack, to show create complete status. But in the meantime, since it says my EC2 instance 1 and instance 2 is done, I can go ahead and go into my EC2 instances tab and see what has been deployed here. There it is. I got EC2 1 and EC2 2. If I check on this one, this is currently being deployed in public subnet 2, and I click on the second one. It's deployed in It is deployed in, where's my subnet? Subnet 1. Okay, so great. It's got my AMI ID here of 686. Let's verify that. AMI ID. If I scroll down here, that's my AMI ID, T2 micro. All right. Let's see if we can SSH into our EC2 instances. So let's go ahead and grab the IP address of the first one, for example, copy that, go into my Visual Code, and I'm going to go ahead into and I already have my key pair downloaded, so I'll go SSH -I EC2-key pair. And then EC2-user at that IP address. And probably added to the list. Oh, denied. EC2-key pair. EC2 user. There it is. Okay, so now I'm in, and according to my user data, HTTPD should be running. So I can go system sudo systemctl HTTPD status. Unknown command status HTTPD. Okay, it's running and it's active. Okay, great. And what we want to do is make sure that this is created for us. So we'll go cd//html/ls is the file there. There it is. And then we go index HTML. Okay, perfect. So now we know that the EC2 are running and the index HTML file is configured for us. Let's go ahead and go back into the console and see how we are doing with the Cloudformation template. Look, we got a new status now. It says create complete. So that means my load balancer has been created, the listener group, and everything else. So let's take a look at the load balancer. Here I am in the load balancer. If I click on this, I got it running here. I got a listener group, and then it's also got a target group. But in my target group, there is no registered targets, right? So we have to register the target manually. So we'll hit register targets. And then we have our two EC2 instances here that we need to register into our target group. And then I'll hit include as pending below, register pending target, and two targets registered successfully to my target group. All right, and there it is. It's showing healthy now, so that's great. And so what can we do with this information? So let's take a look at our network diagram again. Okay, so now we have our target group showed up here. The EC2 belongs to the target group. They're in their own availability zone. So basically, the load balancer should be able to load balance traffic, HTTP port 80 traffic between these two servers. So how do I test that out? Well, I grab the DNS name of the load balancer, and then we can see what it serves up. So go back to the console, go back to the load balancer, and then here we are at the load balancer. We'll click on that, and here's the DNS name. And if we put this in a browser, right, here's a DNS name. I'll hit enter. There it is. Okay, so it says this is from server 1. If I hit the refresh button again, and there it is. This is from server 2. Refresh from server 1. Refresh from server 2. So it's load balancing our traffic as we need it to. Okay, great. So now we will tear everything down. So that's easy to do. We'll just go ahead and go back to our stacks. And now we choose this stack that we just deployed, and we'll hit delete. Okay, we're gonna delete this. Delete has been initiated. And if we hit refresh, delete is in progress. All right, so that's in progress. And then now, while that's in progress, let's check out our EC2 instances. Already you can see that I got kicked out. The system will power down. I got kicked out of my EC2 instances. If I go back to the console here, if I look at my EC2 instances, you can see that they are in the shutdown state. All right, so what about my target group? Does that exist? There's no more target group. What about my listener rules? Well, that's under the load balancer tab, but let's take a look at the load balancer here. If I hit load balancer, and that's gone as well. So no load balancer, no target group. All right, so everything looks good. What about my subnets, my security group? Okay, so no more security groups and no more subnets. Oh yeah, the subnet stays because I've already created that subnet outside the scope of the resources. So there it is, CloudFormation, refresh, and there it is, guys. Okay, so now what about my EC S3 bucket? Of course, my S3 bucket is going to have this because that was not part of the CloudFormation template. So what I can do now is delete this. All right, I'll just say permanently delete this file. And then I will also delete the bucket, all right? Because we want to make sure we start from the very beginning. Delete, and I will just write the name in here to delete. Okay, that's done. No more buckets, guys. Buckets, nothing is left. Okay, so that's how you do it from the GUI. Now, how do you do this from the command line? All right, this is going to be fun. So we'll go back into our Visual Studio Code, and I want to go into my documents, AWS S3 API, right? Create bucket name, right? Or do we just say create bucket? And then we'll just say bucket. We'll call it my AWS S3 LS. And there it is, my new bucket. And let's check out that from the console. If I hit refresh now, there it is. It just created it for us. Okay, great. So now, if I click on that, so go back to this thing here, and now I want to upload the file to the S3 bucket. So a new bucket 95134. All right, it's uploaded. All right, so how do we check that? AWS CloudFormation create stack stack name. We'll call it my new bucket 95134 dot s3 dot amazon.com AWS Cloudformation describe stacks. All right, which stacks are there right now? So I'm gonna go ahead and make this window bigger. Okay, so currently oh wow, let me just do that again. Okay, so here's my new stack. Here are the parameter values and keys, and create in progress. That's the status right there, create in progress. All right, here's some of my other old stacks that I should have deleted to make it not be so cluttered. But anyways, so I think that's done. So let's check out if our instances are created yet. So AWS EC2 describe instances, output YAML. All right, so this is a cleaner version for us to look at here. Terminated. Running. One of them's running. We can also do this. Output table. Okay, so here's a cleaner version as well. Here's our instances. There's a lot of information here. State disabled. Terminated. Okay, so to better take a look, we can go to the GUI and we can take a look at that. Instances, there it is. Refresh. Here's our two running instances. There it is. All right, so what about our target group? Refresh. Here's our target group, but there's no targets associated with it. So we need to associate the targets. Okay, so we can go AWS ELBv2, describe listeners, describe target health, describe target health. Target dash group ARN. Okay, so there it is. I got two of them, instance there and instance there, and they're both healthy. So that's great. So that looks to be healthy. We think everything is working. Oh, let's take a look at our security group, or our subnets. Other things, AWS EC2, describe internet gateway, AWS ELB v2. describe load balancers. That's all it is. Okay, so here's our load balancer. Here's the DNS name. So let's take a look at this DNS name here. All right, so now we're gonna put this into our browser. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of this one here. I'm gonna create a new tab. All right, I'm gonna paste this and I'll hit enter. And it's thinking, there it is. This is from server 1, refresh, refresh. This is from server 2. All right, so everything's created for us. So let's take a look at the GUI to see what it looks, or to, the GUI to see what it looks like here. So here's our listener rules, which is great, our application load balancer. Here's our target group that was deployed for us. Refresh, there it is. All right, we got 2 healthy instances like we saw earlier. Now the CloudFormation template, refresh. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete the CloudFormation template that we created. So we'll go back into here and we'll get out of here. We'll say AWS CloudFormation, delete stack name. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that status. Rollback configuration, status, delete in progress. There it is. My new stack, the delete in progress. Okay, so that looks good. And now we need to delete the S3 object in our bucket. So AWS S3 LS, my new bucket. What was the name of it? All right, so AWS S3 API, delete bucket, done. No bucket left. Let's verify that. S3, go back to buckets. That's cache. If I hit refresh, nothing's there. Nothing is there. All right, guys, that's how you do it. I hope that was informative for you guys. So basically, we deployed the CloudFormation template with all our resources here. We did it via the GUI, and then we did it also via the AWS command line. So I hope that was pretty helpful for you guys, and I can't wait to do the next video.